What's up, Dream Warriors? Welcome back to another episode of a podcast on Elm Street. I'm Mark.
And Brooke.
And we are all done our month of June. So we're back at it with my pick for this month.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted us to get scared. So I picked a movie that I thought was going to be super fucking scary because that's what people say.
Yeah, I kind of start my discussion off with that.
Yeah. Okay. So I won't talk too much more about it then, if that's a talking point. But
yeah.
But anyways, this week we're going to be talking about Session 9 from 2001.
Yep.
And it was the first time watch for both of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've heard of this movie a bit of other podcasts talking about it, but never seen it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat too. I've seen the movie poster everywhere, and that movie poster is so sick, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I love it. Just that image of the wheelchair thing in the middle of the hallway. It's so cool. But anyways, before we talk too much about this in the intro, what have you been up to this week?
This week, I feel like a lot. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of movies lately. I don't want to. I feel like there's nothing really worth mentioning. It's all stuff that everyone has seen a billion times. I watched Wall-E.
Nice.
I've only seen the movie once or twice, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. And I still don't think it's top 10 Pixar.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
My hot take is that Wall-E and Up are not top 10 Pixar movies.
Whoa.
Yes.
Can you off the top of your head, can you give a top 10?
Oh,
or a top 5? Can you do a top 5?
Yeah, I guess. Inside Out.
Okay.
Toy Story 3.
3, okay.
Coco.
Okay.
And there's probably another one. Finding Nemo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's only 4, but
is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Toy Story 2, I guess.
What about Toy Story 1?
Yeah.
The one that started it all.
Yeah. But yeah, I did enjoy Wall-E this watch.
Okay.
I still think it's kind of boring at some parts and not much happens. And the fat people is kind of weird, but also hilarious.
Yeah, but it's the meaning behind it all.
I know. So anyway, watch that. I rewatched The Matrix. It's been a long while since I've seen that movie, and fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I think with The Matrix, I've always just paid attention to the action in it. And I never really quite fully understood the story of The Matrix. I was always super confused about it, but really isn't much to it when you really just pay attention to the movie.
Yeah.
But man, this movie inspires so many movies. Just watching this, I'm okay, Inception, Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Malignant.
Yeah, exactly.
The fight scene.
Yeah. So I thoroughly enjoyed that watch. And then did I mention last time No Time to Die?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I watched Insidious Chapter 3. That was my lone horror watch this week. Definitely a first time watch for me. I didn't like it that much. I thought it was okay. It was actually pretty scary.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if they did because the 3 and 4 don't have the main two in it, Patrick Wilson and the other girl's name.
Rose Byrne.
No. Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah. I'm getting fucking Conjuring mixed up. They don't have those two, so I think they shouldn't call it Insidious. If they want to do a spin-off with Lin Shaye and Specs and the other guy like maybe have like a different name for it,
Yeah.
maybe. But it was pretty good. I saw that Patrick Wilson is directing Insidious 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I kind of have high hopes for that one now.
That's cool. Is that his first directing?
I would have thought so,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I'm excited for that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always kind of like a weird thing, right? Because he was in Insidious and he was also in The Conjuring.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like two very like similar movies in a way.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it.
All right. So I made a face when you said you watched Wall-E because I also watched Wall-E this week.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Yeah. Because you showed me that top 250 animated movies list on Letterboxd, and then it was also in the sci-fi one as well.
Yeah.
And Wall-E was pretty high up, and I was just like, oh man, I fucking love this movie. And I started watching it probably like a month ago with Brady, but I don't know. Like you said, there's some boring parts, so he kind of got uninterested with it. But it is a top 10 Pixar movie for me. Probably even a top 5 Pixar movie for me.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I continued on with my Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise watch, and I watched part 2 and 3.
Nice.
Part 3 is fuck, man, it's a mess. Wow.
Did you keep the same rating for 2 this time around on Letterboxd?
Yeah, 3.5 stars.
Yeah. Okay.
I watched Hustle, Adam Sandler's new movie.
Nice.
It's fucking so good, man.
Yeah, it's really good.
I haven't watched everything or whatever that was.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, that one. I haven't watched that yet, but Hustle is probably so far my favorite movie from 2022.
Higher than the Batman?
Oh no, okay. No. It's up there though. It's up there. Yeah, I put it on one night just to watch it while I fell asleep and ended up staying up to like 2 a.m. to finish it because it was so fucking good.
Yeah.
I watched Dash Cam, which is a new one.
Okay.
That's been kind of making its rounds. It was good. The main chick is very fucking annoying, and I've heard she's a piece of shit in real life too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it on Shudder?
No, I had to illegally watch it.
Right.
Watched Luca with Brady.
So nice. I haven't seen that one yet.
It's good. It's good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And lastly, I watched Ex Machina.
Oh, nice.
Because it was on the sci-fi movie list. And
yeah, that's one I've been wanting to rewatch for like years, but I just haven't. And I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix too. Or it was for a long time.
I can't remember where I watched it. Prime, maybe?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I haven't watched that since it first came out. And like I couldn't even remember if I'd actually watched it or not.
No,
but then
really?
Once I got into it, I was like, okay, yeah, I've definitely seen this. But holy shit, man, what a good movie.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it because like, yeah, it's one of those movies that everyone loves and talks about. And
yeah,
one of the best sci-fi movies of like the past decade.
Yeah. The ending was nuts, man.
Yeah, I forget how it ends.
I won't spoil it, but it was really good. And other than that, I think that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everything I've watched.
Nice.
Yeah. Fairly busy week, I guess, for watching shit.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't have anything else, let's dive into this movie. Okay. Like we said in the intro this week, we are talking about Session 9 from 2001. Before we start talking about it, what are you drinking tonight?
So I do still have our vodka sodas.
Nice.
But they're kind of getting a bit boring. So I just went with a classic gin and tonic.
Oh, nice.
With pomegranate bitters.
Ooh. I thought you had a samurai sword behind you, and then I realized it's your Thor Lego piece.
Yeah.
I could just see the handle. You want to talk about boring? I am drinking a Bud Light.
That's not boring.
That's all I have. My case was sitting out in my car for a few days, so I'm really hoping that they're not skunky. because we've had some hot fucking weather lately. Nope, still good.
There we go.
We're good. All right, let's dive into this movie. Starting off with the synopsis. Tensions rise within an asbestos cleaning crew as they work in an abandoned mental hospital with a horrific past that seems to be coming back.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a confusing plot line.
A little bit, but I think that's what this movie is aiming to do, I think.
Yeah.
With its stories.
Yeah. It was directed by Brad Anderson, who did The Machinist. Have you seen that?
No, that's one movie I've like been wanting to watch forever.
Yeah.
Because like Christian Bale is like 110 pounds in it.
Yeah.
It just looks nuts.
Yeah, it's insane how much weight he lost for that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. Can't be healthy. Anyways, he also did The Call, Trans-Siberian, Beirut, Vanishing on 7th Street, and a whole shit ton of TV episodes.
He's in a lot of TV.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of upcoming projects too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think I recognize any of them though.
No, me either.
But yeah, he does have quite a few. The cast list, we have David Caruso, who plays Phil, most known for his gifts.
Yeah.
Or his role in CSI Miami.
Yeah.
Rambo First Blood, Proof of Life, and NYPD Blue.
Yeah.
Stephen Gevedon played Mike. He's in Drunk Parents. He voiced a character in Red Dead Redemption 2. He's in The Devil You Know and Oz.
Yeah. And he played a neighbor with a lawnmower in War of the Worlds.
I saw that too.
He looks like a cheap version of George Clooney.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Josh Lucas plays Hank. He's in Ford versus Ferrari, Sweet Home Alabama, Glory Road, Yellowstone, The Forever Purge, and American Psycho.
Yeah. He's probably the most recognizable person to me in this movie.
Yeah, but they made him like you recognize who he is, but they made him look so different than what he does in real life.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
He's got a big old mustache and long hair.
Gnarly sideburns.
Yeah. Lastly, I have Peter Mullen, who played Gordon. He was in Children of Men, War Horse, the Magdalene Sisters. He's in the new Lord of the Rings TV show, The Rings of Power, The Vanishing, and Ozark.
Nice.
Yeah. I have 2 honorable mentions.
I have 3.
Okay. You go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't write down an actor's name, but the guy that plays Bill.
Yeah.
He's also in CSI, but not Miami. He's like in the OG CSI.
Yeah. Paul Guilfoyle is his name.
Yeah. And then another guy is, I didn't write his name, but the guy that plays Jeff.
Yeah.
The whole movie, I was like, this guy looks so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I feel like he's like a big actor now or something. And then like I looked tonight and it's like, I know he's not that big of an actor, but he was in Don't Breathe too.
Yeah.
He's the main villain in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brendan Sexton III is his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same thought process you did. I was like, how do I know this guy? And then yeah, his like first credit on IMDb is Don't Breathe too.
Yeah. And then the third guy I have is Larry Fessenden.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Who plays Craig.
Yeah.
And I swear this guy is like the king of like indie horror movies.
Yeah.
Like any movie you watch on Shudder, this guy is probably in it. Like he's in a lot of stuff. Like he was in Dash Cam that you watched.
Mm-hmm.
See, The Spine of Night, which is a Shudder one I've been wanting to watch but haven't.
That's the animated one.
Yeah. Jacob's Wife, Dementor, The Dead Don't Die, Depraved, The Mountain, The Ranger, Gray Matter.
Jesus.
like he's in a lot of kind of like indie horror.
Yeah.
Southbound. He was in Until Dawn, the
Okay.
video game. Yeah.
Huh. Shit. He's the next Tony Todd. Taking on any role he can.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, my two honorable mentions were Paul Guilfoyle and Brendan Sexton III. So you covered them.
Yeah.
So let's fucking talk about this movie.
All right. So I think this discussion is going to be one of those movies where we just talk spoilers right away and like the ending, and I think try to unpack it a little bit. But first, I want to start off with, you kind of mentioned, I don't know where you got your sources from, but how this movie was scary.
Yeah.
Not that scary. It wasn't the type of scary that I think we thought it was going to be.
Correct.
The tension and like the dread was really good in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But for like jump scares, like gore and like kind of ghost, like paranormal, definitely was not that type of movie.
Yeah, man. Like I was fully expecting like it's guys in an abandoned mental health hospital. Like I thought for sure like it'd be jump scares all over the place and like fucking scary ass shit happening.
Yeah.
But I think
and then
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like I saw in the IMDb, like there was like a person that played like a doctor and like patient one or something like that. So I was like, oh, maybe they play like a ghost or something like that.
But like I think where the horror comes from, and this is a big part of my my scare section write up, is that it's just like you said, the tension's there, like you're constantly feeling like something's gonna happen throughout the whole fucking movie. And it's a lot of I don't know if it's like, if I want to call it like real life horror, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. There's just a sense of uneasiness the whole time I was watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of like made you feel like whenever you yourself go into like an old house or something, you have that like tingly feeling, like something this doesn't feel right.
Yeah. And the ending of it, like I'm not going to say anything about it, but the ending is like, I'm probably going to think about that for a while. The way that they ended it.
Yeah. We'll get into it here soon, but yeah, like I think this is a movie I need to rewatch again. Because like the ending, I don't know if I liked it or not. I don't know how I felt about the ending.
Okay.
So yeah. But yeah, this was filmed at an actual like old mental asylum. I think it's actually called Danvers, like it's a real place.
It is called Danvers, which is crazy. And what's his name? The director, Brad Anderson, he drove by this hospital like almost daily. And it was always like his dream to like kind of make a movie in there. And if you pay attention, while they're walking through, you can see signs that say Danvers Mental Hospital on it, because it's called Kirkbride in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Unless they changed it through it. No. Yeah, no, it was opened in 1871. It was called Kirkbride. Yeah. But there's signs that say Danvers Mental Asylum or something like that throughout it.
Yeah.
And they didn't add anything to this movie except for like very minor pieces in like 3 specific rooms. And the rest of it is all just shit that was there.
That's what I kind of figured.
Yeah, which is nuts, man.
So it probably wasn't that big of a budget to do.
No, it's a very small budget.
Yeah.
It's like 1.3 million or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, like the setting was very like a real. It was awesome.
I think that played into like the whole creepiness of it too, right? Like the feeling of uneasiness, because you know that like you can just tell that it's not on set.
Yeah.
Right. So like even with them just filming it, like shit could have happened. That's in theory, if you believe in that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically it's like a hazmat crew of just four guys, and then they bring on Gordon's nephew to help them because they're kind of bidding to win this job. I think originally they say like 3 weeks, and then Gordon keeps going like lower and lower. He's like, okay, we'll do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then Phil is like, 2 weeks. Like, I don't know, we can do it in 2 weeks. And Gordon is like, he's like, no, 2 weeks, we can do it.
Yeah.
And then later on, Gordon goes to Bill and is like, man, I really need this job. Like, we'll do it in a week by next Monday, and I'll match the highest bid. And he's like, I really need this job.
Yeah.
So like we'll get into the ending now because like I don't know, I feel like it's a big discussion point, and like I have questions about it.
Okay.
So the ending, it ends up like Gordon ends up killing everyone in there. And he had killed his family, his wife, the dog, and presumably the baby. And during all of this, there's kind of like a mixture of stories. Who is it? Mike's character finds like old recordings of this girl, Mary Hobbs, who had like different personality. Yeah.
Dissociative personality disorder.
Yeah. So she had like 3 different variations of herself. There was Billy, the princess, and Simon. And like Mike was going through all these tapes, and it was like named like session 7, 8, and 9. And then throughout the movie, Gordon is hearing Simon or someone's voice talking to him saying like, kill them, kill your wife, whatever.
Yeah.
So my question is like, did Gordon kill his family before taking this job?
No, I don't think so.
Like, why did he need this job so bad?
I have a feeling that like money was tight. And like there was probably some sort of like turmoil in his household. So like his wife was like on his ass or something like that to make money because she obviously wasn't working. They have not a newborn, but an infant at home. I don't think he did it before they took the job because like he's got that burn on his leg that he said was from a pot of boiling water. And he originally told Phil that he hit his wife after she accidentally spilt the boiling water on him. So I think that story is true, but instead of hitting her, he fucking snapped and killed her.
So I think he killed them before taking this job.
Okay.
And he needed the money to flee.
Okay.
Because it plays back that scene, like the recording of him pulling up with the flowers in that scene. They show that scene like 3 or 4 times. They keep showing it over and over again. And then at the ending, whenever Gordon he finds the room of like Mary Hobbs or whatever, it has the picture of like him and all of his family and stuff. Like, was that all just in his head, or was that real? And then like it shows after of him like talking to his wife. It's like not a real phone the whole time. It's just like this dummy broken phone.
Yeah. But like he in that scene where they show him pulling up to the house, like he has flowers and a bottle of champagne. And like he just went to the grocery store, it looks like, because he was saying that he was excited to celebrate the new job.
Right.
And like whenever he pulls up, his wife and child are outside, and so is the dog, actually. And then they kind of go in because the baby's crying. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, your theory does work. Like he's taking the job to flee. Yeah, I don't know.
So I was trying to figure like what all, like, were those pictures in the room Like, were those actually there?
Yeah, because he's obviously hallucinating through it, like the whole ending of the movie. Like he has a
Yeah.
whole bunch of different hallucinations.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We might have to rewatch it.
Yeah. I don't know. That whole ending, just, I didn't understand some of it. Like, I got a lot of questions about it.
The one thing I don't understand is like, because we hear the tapes of Mary Hobbs, we see her room, so we know she's real, and we know that she has dissociative personality disorder, and we know that she has the the Billy, the princess, and Simon,
Yeah.
but Simon's always sleeping. So Simon is like almost like her revenge sort of person, right?
Mhm.
Because like Mike, you see him writing it down at one point. He says the princess is like her innocence, um, Billy is her protector, and then Simon, he has question marks beside it.
Yeah.
So I think Simon is like her anger almost.
Hmm.
But my question is, and I don't know if it's a plot hole or what it is, or maybe I'm just not understanding it. Is Simon one of her personalities, or is he like some sort of paranormal entity that possesses her while she's in the hospital? Because how is Gordon hearing him, first of all,
Yeah.
and then at the end, Simon talks to the doctor and says that he preys on. I have it written down here. He lives in the weak and the wounded.
Yeah. So I wanted to check something I wrote down to see if this is plausible too. So I'm just throwing this idea out here
Okay.
for discussion. So the hospital closed down in 1985.
Yeah.
Is it possible that Gordon is one of these people on the tapes?
Hmm. Like
Like maybe
on.
he wants maybe he wants this job so bad so he can get back to the hospital or something. Because like Mary Hobbs is connected to him through the whole movie. Like when he's outside on like the log by the cemetery, at the end it pans down and you see like the number 444, which is like the grave that is like broken, and that's Mary Hobbs' grave.
Yeah, that's her patient number.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like the voices they use, I don't know if like it was different people, like actors they use, but could one of them been Gordon?
Like in the tape that we hear,
Yeah.
I don't know how it could be though, because like it's all Mary. It's her different personalities coming out on the tape, right?
Yeah, I guess we see the pictures too of like her scarring on her chest and stuff. So
Yeah. I had a thought while I was watching it that he might have been the one who, what was her brother's name? Paul or something?
um
I can't remember. Peter.
yeah, Peter, yeah.
Um, I had like a fleeting thought while I was watching it that he might have been Peter, but she killed Peter, I think.
Yeah.
And that's why she was in the mental hospital.
Yeah.
Because he's the reason why she has the scars on her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. This movie's throwing out a lot more questions than I expected it to.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah, I mean, it's undeniable that uh, Gordon has some sort of connection with the hospital or some sort of something going on with him.
Yeah.
Whether he's in the hospital, whether he's gone crazy himself, whether he's possessed by this Simon character, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm. One thing
And
I
then,
found,
oh,
oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing I found interesting too is that Mike, one of the workers, he was a law school student, and his father was like one of the main lawyers that that was involved in in the hospital being shut down.
Mm,
So he has a connection to the hospital.
yeah.
And I think that's why he's so interested in the patient files and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Because he doesn't do a fucking lift a finger at all in this movie. He's
no,
just always
I'd be
fucking
firing
downstairs looking at the tapes.
Yeah.
And then like as they were naming off, like I think Mike writes down like Billy is innocence.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, the
princess is innocence.
princess innocence. Billy is the protector.
Yeah.
And then Simon, they don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think like, I know the numbers don't match up, but you think like our 4 or 5 main characters like are equal, like they represent these 4 people, like Mary, Peter, Billy, the princess, and Simon? Because like Jeff to me is innocence. He literally doesn't do anything. Like he's like the one guy that's like not an asshole in this movie.
Yeah. And he's like scared of the dark and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. And then like Phil could be like David or Gordon's protector.
So like Billy.
Yeah.
And
Jeff's
then Gordon would be Mary Hobbs,
Mary,
I guess.
Yeah. But then who would Hank be? Simon? I don't know.
Maybe he's Peter.
So would Mike be Simon?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like trying to connect things. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking, like maybe we're overthinking stuff on a few of these like discussions, but I don't know. I feel like there's something that we're missing.
Yeah, there's got to be someone that's done like a super deep dive of this movie.
Yeah.
And figured some of this shit out.
Yeah. But yeah, like Jeff is like the only one who like seems like a legit cool guy. Like he's actually working. Mike, like he keeps fucking unplugging the tile thing that Jeff is using.
Yeah.
And like he knows that Jeff has nyctophobia, which is like a scared of the dark. So he makes him go down to like the basement to check the breaker, but really it's just he fucking unplugged it.
Yeah.
And then Hank stole Phil's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Phil and Gordon kind of have this they butt heads a lot over kind of like, it seemed like power.
Yeah.
Like at some point I couldn't even tell who was the boss.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely Gordon's business, but like Phil has, I don't know if he's like his oldest employee or what. And like they're definitely friends. So I think Phil wants what's best for them and for the company and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like for Gordon too, obviously. But yeah, there's definitely some sort of like a power struggle. Like I feel like if Gordon was to step down, Phil would jump into that role.
Yeah. And like the one scene whenever Gordon sees Phil talking to like the 2 kids behind the generator, and then like on the roof, like Gordon asks him like, who were you talking to? Like, what'd you say? And then like Phil kind of like laughs at him and is like, oh, like really?
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, that's kind of a valid question, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because this was after Mike disappears, right?
Hank.
Hank, sorry.
Yeah.
This is after Hank disappears. And so now Gordon is getting paranoid, thinking that Phil had him killed, basically. So maybe your theory does ring true with
I just thought of something too.
That he killed his family first, and now he's having this like guilty, like, you know how whenever you're guilty, you try and push that onto somebody else?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Okay, so the scene with Hank in the basement, which a lot of like the scenes underground, like in the darkness, were filmed really well. Like the cinematography and the lighting in this movie was done very well. It's all like natural lighting and stuff, and like in these dark scenes. So like he finds the coins down in the basement, and they're like, they are placed, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as he's picking them up, he looks at the date, and oh wait, no, never mind. I was thinking because like they're dated. He's like, oh, like 83, like 84, 85. So like, is that like up to the close of the asylum? And we know later in the movie that Gordon ends up killing him.
Yeah.
So is Gordon placing those coins, and was that Gordon's stash of coins he found in there?
Yeah. The coins play a weird role in this movie too.
Yeah.
Because like Hank finds that pile of them, and then like they just start appearing later on in the movie too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's to like show us that Hank is still there or what.
Or maybe Gordon has the coins and is just placing them throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But then like it goes into Hank takes the brick out and he's like digging through this like sand, and he doesn't know what it is, but like it pans through and it's like an incinerator, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the morgue on the other side. So he's like literally picking people's things, and he's like, oh, silver, and it's like clearly that's like a denture that he has in his hand. Like I don't know if he like ever noticed.
Well, and he picks out 2 eyeballs too, like glass eyes.
Yeah, they're definitely not. I guess they would be glass eyes because real eyes would burn. But yeah.
He's like, oh, these are probably worth something. I'm like, dude, those were in someone's skull.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how he didn't figure that one out.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the scene with Mike or Hank's I guess disappearance?
Which part of the scene?
Like whenever he's going, like he's walking away, and then you see like it splits off and it has like staff and patients.
Yeah.
And he took the patient side, and I was like, dude, that's a bad decision.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. And then the further down he gets, like he starts hearing noises and stuff like that. And then we see it like a shadow figure down the hallway.
We definitely see a figure.
Yeah. So now, like, obviously we know that that's Gordon that he sees.
Yeah.
Or we would assume that it's Gordon. But at the time, you think it's a ghost.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm thinking, okay, this is when this movie's gonna fucking ramp up, and it's gonna be super fucking scary from the rest, like from this point on.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But
I did feel like after this scene, the movie did ramp up a bit, because I did feel like the first act was like,
it was slow.
It was a bit slow, but it's like introducing like the hospital and all the characters. So I kind of let that slide. But yeah.
But yeah, I did really like this scene, and like the way that he's running through the hallway, and like it's dark, all he has is a flashlight to see in front of him. And it's just like we've already mentioned it before, it's just that tension is there, and like you just expect something's gonna happen, like jump scare wise, but it doesn't, except for that shadow figure that we see.
Yeah.
But
and then like throughout the movie, Gordon kind of like keeps trying to call his wife, and she like won't talk to him, hangs up, and then eventually like Gordon, you can see like he's getting depressed, but he may actually just he's going crazy, because like he's probably killed his wife at this point.
Yeah.
Because like he does mention to Phil near the end that he hit his wife, and that he's been staying at a hotel.
Yeah.
And then he keeps like seeing crosses everywhere, and then he hears like a voice of like Simon telling Gordon to like kill them and like do all this stuff. And then at one point, Mike pulls like the plug on Jeff's thing, and then Jeff has to go downstairs and plug it. And I felt like they did a really good job with Jeff's character and like the scenes with him, like in the dark, especially because like you've felt his phobia a bit.
The way he goes into the room where the generator is, he's like standing in the doorway, and the doorway's lit up, but the room that it's in is very dark.
Yeah.
And like you can see him, he's doing like the shit that we used to do when we were kids, right? Like,
Mhm.
okay, I gotta run to my bed. I gotta flick the
Yeah.
light off and fucking run to my bed. And that's kind of what he does. Like he's pumping himself up and he runs in really quick, plugs in the generator, and then books it back out.
Yeah.
And then after he does that, the generator that's outside starts to die, and that's powering all of their lights that are inside.
Yeah.
So he's down in this basement by himself, and he's in this long corridor, and it's all those I can't remember what they're called, but
Like the
they're
hazmat suits kind of.
yeah, that, but the lights, they're
Oh, the string lights.
yeah, they're like the lights that mechanics use underneath the cars and shit like
Yeah.
that. And it's just a long line of those. And you start to see them like die out behind him. And then
Dude.
he turns around and he's like, oh fuck, I gotta run.
Yeah.
And oh man, it was
Yeah.
nuts.
I mean, I mentioned that scene a bit later too in a certain rating,
Yeah.
but that scene was filmed and like I thought the actor that played Jeff like did a great job.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah. And like it leads to this like house that's like away from the manor
Yeah.
or the hospital. And then like I don't know if it was like the ghost or like someone like because he got covered in fucking asbestos.
Yeah.
And like it kind of was kind of like hints to his like that's happening to him because like Hank is telling like early in the movie like what asbestos does to your lungs.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like joking with him like, oh, like you swallow this, like you're dead.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Whenever Jeff walks up back up the stairs again before the scene we're just talking about, and he sees Hank there,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that was actually Hank? Because we learn at the end that he is still alive, but he has that that hair pin in his fucking eye.
Yeah. Well, and that's what Mike was saying at one point too. Like whenever they're all sitting outside eating their lunch, Mike's telling Jeff about how if you put something into the soft tissue in your eyeball and you like do a couple motions up and down, you disconnect something in your brain.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that was like part of a therapy that they're using at this hospital.
Mhm.
So that makes you wonder like if Gordon got the idea from that story or if he was in this hospital.
That makes sense because I think he starts yelling at Mike to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it keeps them alive, but it disconnects a part of their brain and it makes them like basically sort of despondent.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that Hank says for the rest of the movie is, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
What are you doing here? And that was the last thing that he had said before he got attacked.
Yeah.
So I think he is still there and just like kind of wandering the halls.
But why would Gordon
Allow
let that
that
happen? Like,
Yeah.
do you think he was just crazy at that point? Like, at one point in this movie, I got a very like big like The Shining vibe,
Mm-hmm.
like Jack Torrance.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, just looking at my notes to before like the final scene, I thought that the buildup to this like second last scene was like amazing.
Mm.
I thought it was great. Like the
Yeah.
music, everything's like happening so fast. Like Phil finds the room, like he's following Gordon. They get to the room,
Yeah.
and like he sees all the pictures like on the wall, and then you see like Gordon like attack Phil, but you don't see the deaths in this movie until like the very end.
And this movie is very, very good at, I talk about this in one of my ratings. This movie is very good for me anyways at pulling the veil over my eyes to making me think that Phil was the crazy one.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think that Gordon was like, I knew that he had some shit going on, but Phil seemed like he was the one that was like really losing his mind. Just the way that he's acting, right? Like he's got the paranoid moment whenever they're talking about the two guys that he was talking to And then we have Phil telling Mike that Gordon hit his wife. So he's kind of like pushing the attention onto Gordon to like
Yeah.
keep it away from him, is what I felt like.
Yeah.
And shit like that. And there was another scene too, and I was just
Oh
like,
yeah, the scene whenever Jeff goes down and tells him like, Hank's upstairs.
yeah,
And they're like, what? And then Phil like doesn't believe him, and he's like, oh, you're gonna believe this fucking asshole kid?
yeah,
And then they'll run upstairs, and like Phil's like freaking out, like, oh, I called whatever his ex-girlfriend's name was, and they're like, you all heard her, she said that Hank went to Miami.
yeah,
And the Gordon was like, no, we didn't actually hear her say that.
yeah.
And Phil's like, yeah, we were all on the roof and she said he went to Miami. And he's like, yeah, but we didn't hear it. You had the phone. We didn't hear her voice.
See, this is what I mean. Like,
yeah. So at that point, I was like, okay, is Phil crazy? Or
yeah,
is Phil crazy?
And then so at the end, Gordon walks into Mary's room, and you had mentioned before pictures of like his daughter and his family and like their christening and all this stuff. They're all plastered all over Mary Hobbs's wall, and there's blood trickling down it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Phil walk in behind Gordon, and he's got like a hook knife in his hand.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was just like, shit, man, like Phil has lost his damn mind. Like,
yeah.
So that whole time, I was thinking that Phil was the crazy one.
Yeah. Like that whole scene, I was like enthralled and like it was intense.
The music was amazing.
Jeff's outside and he's like makes it to the van. He's like dying because he's like covered in asbestos.
Yeah.
And then he like has the Oreos and then he stands up and you see like the camera point of view, like it's someone walking towards him.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff is like, oh man, I got one of the Oreos out of the thing. He like goes to hug the person. And then like you don't see it, but you assume that he was killed.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, that was Phil.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it just the movie like turns like a 180 and it just quiets down again.
Yeah.
And then it shows Craig show up.
Mm-hmm.
You see like the blood on the van, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And then like it shows Hank laying in the room with Gordon and Phil there.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? I thought Phil just killed Gordon. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I didn't like how it switched so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the build up and all that was like, oh shit, like they're gonna leave us on like cliffhanger like that. Like I was okay with that.
Yeah.
But then I felt like it was trying to do too much with this final scene. Like, what do you think?
I agree with that aspect of it, but I like how they tied everything up with the ending with Simon's voice over top of everything that's happening, because Simon finally wakes up on the Mary Hobbs tape, and it's the session 9 tape where he finally wakes up. So the doctor is finally talking to Simon, and just the way that he talks, man, and it's so fucking creepy and ominous and like it just like scary.
Yeah.
And then all this shit's happening while Simon's kind of talking.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you said, we see Hank laying in the middle of the floor, and then we see Mike get killed in the gymnasium.
Yeah.
We know Jeff gets killed, and then I forget how does he kill Phil?
I don't think it shows it.
Didn't show it. But then like it pans through all the different rooms of the hospital, and we see all the different characters that have been killed now.
Yeah. Craig shows up and he sees like Hank's body there with the thing in his head or his eye, and he's still like alive. And then he's like, goes to Gordon. He's like, oh shit, like what the fuck? And then Gordon takes out of his eye, and then like it doesn't show it, but I think he just stabs him
in his eye.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
But like actually into his eye. So like it punctured through his brain. Whenever he pulls that thing out of Hank's eye though.
I loved how his head came up with it.
Yeah. and his head's like hanging there, and he has to like give it like a little bit of a jolt to get it out. It's like, holy
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I guess he was possessed the whole time, I guess, or kind of not possessed, but kind of like the Shining, like being told what to do by someone. So like, I don't know. I still think maybe he's somehow connected to Mary or something. I don't know.
I think I could very well see him being a patient before it closed down.
Yeah.
Because they did say at one point in the movie that a lot of the patients, whenever Bill was taking them through, because he was saying, no, the security guard, they're like, what do you have a gun here for? Like, this place has been closed down since 1985, blah, blah, blah. Like, who are you trying to keep in? He goes, oh, we're not trying to keep anybody in. We're trying to keep people out. And he says, like, teenagers, squatters. And he's like, a lot of those people that were here just got thrown out into the street once the hospital closed down. So I wonder if Gordon is one of the patients from the hospital.
Yeah. I think he may be.
I think so. Yeah. I really do think so now that we're talking about
because
this.
Like the type of work that he does is a very easy job that you could just
pick up and do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look at he got his nephew who's never fucking done anything in his life. He got him to come and help him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We solved the case.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I have any other things to add. I think we covered pretty much everything that I can think of. Anything else that you want to bring up or mention that we forgot about?
Not really. Just like that end scene where we see what actually happened with Phil's wife or with Gordon's wife and family. Like, you don't actually see it, but it's all audible. Like, you can hear it all. You can hear him stabbing his wife while the baby's crying in the background, and then the dog starts barking, and then you can hear him kill the dog. And then you don't hear anything happen to the baby, but the baby just like stops crying.
Yeah.
And that's that whole part there is like what, like, the movie finished, and I was just like sitting there, and I was like, wow.
In the movie, Mary kills Peter, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she doesn't, though.
Because if she doesn't,
he could
is
be
it
Peter.
Possible that he's Peter?
Well,
I guess not, because Mary was in the hospital, and she was the one that heard the voices and was told to do these things. Yeah.
That's season 9, session 9. Jesus.
Oh, and this scene I thought was really like awkward and funny is like after Gordon tells Phil like that he hit his wife, and he's like, don't tell his other guys.
Yeah.
And then immediately Phil goes and tells Mike, and then like it shows Gordon downstairs, he can hear everything, and then he like goes upstairs, and like the scene was just so awkward because they're like trying to pretend like, oh yeah, we're talking about your nephew and how good of a worker he is or something like that.
Yeah. At first glance, it may seem like everything was just in Gordon's head. Hints like Phil yelling at him to wake up and his endless calls to his wife that never make it through make it seem like there's no true link to the outside world. Blah, 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 blah. The story of Mary and her many personalities is his brain's way of explaining the catastrophe that occurred at home, killing them all. Ha! Hell, all of his crew could be Gordon's own versions of Princess and Billy.
There we go.
At one point, he does call Mike Princess. Further blurring the lines of reality and fiction. If they don't exist, Gordon never killed anyone but his own personalities, leaving him with his original self with the knowledge that in a fit, he murdered his family and has been hiding out at a crumbling mental facility for no reason for days. Oh. So maybe none of them are real.
I didn't think of that.
If this were true, that would tie everything up with a cute little bow. Simon's last monologue, that mind you doesn't come from one of the tapes, simply from Gordon's mind, tells him that a bit of Simon lives within everyone. Some people are just better at keeping him hidden than others. It would also make sense that this alternate reality takes place at a psych ward that is supposed to help people with their disorders. I mean, who cares about the asbestos in a building that's already partly demolished?
That's a good point because, like,
Well, didn't they say that they were turning it into something?
no, they were selling it to somebody
Uh,
because they're basically tearing it all down, right? Like they're taking the tiles out of the ceiling.
yeah. We find out. Oh, we find out later that he killed his family the same day he sets foot within the asylum. So yeah, because he goes home to celebrate getting the job. He does mention that, right?
Yeah.
So that night he would have killed them. So
Yeah.
this entire week they're dead.
Yeah.
Additionally, Gordon seems to seek out Mary in several ways after listening to her tapes, sitting above her grave. And of course, Gordon posts his photos up in Mary's old room. Once in chance, twice in coincidence, third time is a pattern. The only real question is, did Simon make him kill, or did the evil already in Gordon cause Simon to seek him out? So when did he listen to the tapes then? Or are they just saying
Gordon?
that he did? Yeah.
Probably just saying that he did.
Huh. I'm gonna read this article later on, but
yeah,
it sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that wraps that up. And that's the way the asbestos poofs.
Poofs. I like it. All right. It's time for us to rate this movie. How did you rate it?
So I gave the story a 6 out of 10. I said the writing was good for the most part. I liked all of the characters, but the mixture with the tape kind of did lose me at the end. Obviously talking about like all the different theories and stuff that we've had. Like, I don't know, maybe if I rewatch it again, I think my score may change a bit in story. I didn't feel like it knew what kind of movie it was trying to be. Like, I don't know, it felt very jumbled to me. And quality gave an 8 out of 10. I said the acting was great from everyone, the set was awesome, and the score was really good. So 6 out of 10 and 8 out of 10.
Cool. My story, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I said I love the backstory of the asylum and how they incorporated one patient with multiple personalities throughout the film, which is kind of opposite of what you said. The twist was unexpected for me, although I guess it could have been obvious, but like I mentioned before, they were good at pulling the veil over my eyes with the diversion of Phil.
Yeah.
They didn't really explain why Gordon started losing it, and I would have liked to have a little bit more explanation on that. We've already talked about this throughout it, but like, is Simon a paranormal being? Is that what they're getting at with this final line in the movie? Excuse me. I didn't realize that final line that Simon says was in Gordon's head, though. I thought that was still on the tape. So that article maybe shed a little bit of light onto it. But like throughout this discussion, I really like how there's different avenues that we can take with this storyline.
Yeah.
Like, I like that it wasn't explained, but at the same time, I wish that it could have been explained a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe on a second watch, we can figure it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
My quality, I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
I said it was filmed weirdly. Like, you talked about the cinematography earlier. And although I do like the camera shots and like the angles and stuff like that, like sometimes it felt found footage, sometimes it felt like low budget, and sometimes it felt like it had a big budget. Like, it just,
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Different scenes and like locations of where the scenes were, like, just had different feelings to it. The sound editing was fucking terrible on the version that I watched anyways. At the beginning, whenever they're talking to Bill, they're outside and the cicadas and like the crickets and shit like that are louder than the people talking.
Okay.
And like, I rented it on Apple TV, so it's not like I had a shitty quality of it or a shitty version of it, but I don't know, I just found that the sound editing was shitty. Most of the acting was really good. And I love the fact that it was filmed on location. And like they literally didn't need to add anything to the set that they had. It was all just stuff that they had there. And I mentioned the score in that last little bit too. It was really good. So yeah, 7 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys know our scores. Let's head on over to Rotten Tomatoes and see what they've scored it. The critics' consensus: relying more on atmosphere than gore, Session 9 is effectively creepy. Short and sweet.
I'm going to say fuck. That was so vague.
I know.
74%.
Oof. You're high. The critics gave it a 66%.
Okay.
On 73 reviews and an average score of 6.3 out of 10. The audience rating was a 63% on 10,000 ratings and an average score of 3.5 out of 5, or a 7 out of 10.
All right. So
like, not bad.
like a slightly above average, I guess.
Yeah. The critics rating was a little bit higher than I expected it to be.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it would be a little lower than that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Letterboxd has a 3.2 out of 5. That was my watch. Sorry,
I was like,
my
what the fuck was
bedtime
that?
reminder.
That was creepy. It sounded like one of those little fucking music boxes.
Yeah, Letterboxd has a 3.2 out of 5. I give it a 3 out of 5. You give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Here Be Monster, Anthony from Porcelain Peak, give it a 3 out of 5. Slash and Captain gave it a 3 out of 5, and Screamin' Cinema gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
Nice. So we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
We liked it, but we didn't love it.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, man, you ready for the scare section?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what did you give it for a scare rating?
So I give it a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
It wasn't quite the scare that we thought it was going to be, but this movie did like the atmosphere of the asylum and like the dread and just the feeling of it very well. I was scared during a lot of scenes of like with Jeff. Like I thought they brought in like his nyctophobia very well. Yeah, so 3 out of 10. Scary scene, I said, when Jeff is running through the basement hallway. I thought that scene was filmed very well, and like it's just like this narrow hallway and all these hazmat suits, and he's covered in asbestos, and then like the generator turns off.
Yeah.
And I think he's like on a walkie, and he's like, the generator is like broken down or something, and then the one light turns down, and he's like, oh fuck, and then just starts booking it, and like he can't keep up with the lights, and he gets there eventually. But yeah, I thought he was gonna die, like, because we didn't quite know it was like a slasher, I guess, at that point, right? Like it still could have been like paranormal.
Yeah.
So like he could have died in that. I thought he was going to, but yeah. And would I survive? I said I would not survive this movie. I feel like I would be like the unsuspecting one, like Mike, like not having any clue like of what's happening, because like his death, he's just like walking through the gym, and then Gordon is like behind him, like covered in blood, and Gordon just starts like booking at him. He doesn't even like get a chance to even react. So yeah. What about you?
My scare rating, I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Oh wow. Okay.
I said you really don't see anything scary, but there's this constant feeling that something bad is going to happen throughout the whole movie. The tapes that Mike listens to throughout the movie are so damn creepy, especially the one at the end with Simon. And the atmosphere is through the roof creepy, considering it's filmed on location. And like I mentioned before, like that ending is going to sit with me for a little while.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was like nonstop throughout the whole movie. Like you just felt like something bad was going to happen.
Yeah.
And that attributes a lot to, or contributes a lot to my scare rating. My scariest scene, I said the whole end sequence with Simon speaking. I just found him so chilling. Like that whole end of the tape where he finally comes on and he's talking to the doctor. Just everything that he says is just fucking creepy.
I thought all the voices were creepy too, like the princess.
Yeah.
Like, very creepy. Yeah.
The princess reminded me of Moaning Myrtle from Harry Potter.
Oh my god. It did, yeah.
Would I survive? I said no. If one of my friends just started offing our group and it was like unsuspected, like you said, I think it'd be late safe for me. Because like you wouldn't expect one of your friends to just start randomly killing everybody.
No, yeah.
So yeah. No for me as well.
Nice.
All right. That wraps it up.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear what you're going to make me watch next week.
All right. So we are going to watch an actual scary movie.
Uh-oh.
At least I think it's still scary. It's been a while since I've seen it. We are going to be watching Paranormal Activity.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
So the one that would be a first watch for me didn't win the coin flip, eh?
It didn't. No.
Huh.
But I'm gonna pick that one soon. So.
All right. Sweet. Yeah. Cool. So Paranormal Activity next week. I'm actually kind of surprised that it's taken us this long to do it.
I know, me too.
Because I don't know. Yeah. It was definitely fucking scary whenever it first came out. Yeah, it's been a while.
It was like the highest like earned horror movie I think of all time before it. I think
it was it made the most money on the budget that it had.
Oh, okay.
So because I think the budget was only like fucking $15,000 or something like that.
And it made a fucking gajillion dollars.
Yeah. I have a really funny story, but I'm gonna save it until we do the episode.
Okay, I do as well. So,
all right, cool. Well, if you guys want to catch us on social media, you can find us at A Podcast on Elm Street on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. If you click the link in our bio on Instagram, you'll find links to our TeePublic account where we have our merch. There's also links to our Patreon account if you wish to support the podcast that way. There's links to each of our individual Letterboxd accounts, our Discord server, and anywhere that you can listen to us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us this week.
We will. Oh,
been a slice, Brooke.
I forget what the theme music is for that one. I know it's probably Rolling Stones as well, but. All right, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you later.